Hi everyone, my name is Maribel and I'm going to be your teacher for today. So today we're going to be talking about another amazing animal. Before we talk about it, let's look at all our pieces, make sure everything is in front of you. That way, when we start the building, it'll be a lot easier to follow along. So we'll be using pieces that we've seen before. We have our battery pack and our motor. Helps us to do all of the movements. We have our gears, our axles, our pins. Just make sure everything is already laid out in front of you. That way it'll be a lot easier later on. Today we're going to be looking at the importance of gears. And now gears are things like these, and we'll be using them in our build. And the way gears work, what do you think they do? Why do you think we have a big gear and a small gear working together? Well, we notice that when one gear moves to the left, the other gear will move to the right. They move in opposite directions of one another. So today our animal is going to have 4 legs, but we only have one motor. How do you think we're going to make 4 legs move if we only have one motor? That's right, we're going to be using the use of the gears. This helps us move multiple things at once. By using more than one gear, we can move more than one object. So the key word to notice today is gears. So today the animal we'll be talking about is a camouflage in the jungle. So I'm going to give you some hints, and I want you guys to guess what kind of animal we'll be building today. So the first clue is that it's a tropical animal. They live in the tropics and subtropical jungles on Earth, and it belongs to the same family as a lizard. In fact, it looks like a lizard. Also, they love to camouflage as the same color as the background. So when they're scared or when they don't want anyone to see them, what do you think these animals might do? They're able to change the color of their skin so that they can hide in, say, if they're on a tree, they can turn brown to hide themselves. If they're on a grass, they can turn green to hide themselves. Do you know what animal it is we'll be building today? Today we're going to be building a chameleon. Anything you know about chameleons? Have you ever seen a chameleon before? What can you tell me about chameleons? So let's look at chameleons and their relatives. So chameleons are in the same family as a lizard, and it looks like it is a lizard. It is a reptile. But what are the main differences between a lizard and a chameleon? Let's look at the pictures in front of us. You notice that the chameleon has a curly tail. Which one in front of you is the chameleon? It's the one on the top left. The other 3 are lizards, but the one with the curly tail is the chameleon. Notice that the chameleons have very big heads. They're a lot bigger than a lizard. A lizard has a slender neck and a slender head. The chameleons have really big heads and bulging eyes. How many legs does a chameleon have? They have 4 legs, and again, they have a very curly tail. So pay attention to the differences between a chameleon and a lizard. Now, looking at the gears, we're going to talk about the linkage of legs. This is important when we look at how to build a Chemeleon. So, like we said, adjacent gears are going to move in opposite directions of one another. So if we're trying to move legs, the back legs will move in run direction. If this gear is being used to move the back legs, the legs are going to move in one direction, and the front legs are going to move in the opposite direction. But if we use another gear, we can get the front and the back legs to move in the same direction. Why is that? Because gears move in the opposite direction. So if this one's moving forward, this one will move backwards, which means this one will move forward, and both the front and the back leg are going to move in the same direction. And you will see this come to life when we begin our build. So remember, the Chemeleon is a family of the lizard, and it's a tropical animal. We'll get back to that at the end. Pay attention to the gear rotation, how they work, how we use multiple gears to move the legs. And with that, we'll get started with the build. So to begin, take your 1x12 brick, take 2 blue 1x2s, and 4 1x2 bricks. And how you're going to want to build them: count 1, 2, put your 1x2 brick on the second hole from the bottom, and then attach 1 white by 2 under it, and another 1x2. Then you're going to count from the top side, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and on the fourth one, you're going to put your other 1x2 brick so that your brick is resting so that there's this much space. That should be about 3 holes separating each of the 1x2 bricks. And your body should look, your structure should look just like that. Notice how they're not exactly in the middle of the 1x12. Next, taking your axle and your yellow Technic pin, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 and insert the pin so that the gear, you're going to insert the pin so that the rigid side is sticking outwards. Take your 8-tooth gear and insert that into the Technic pin that we just put in. Now taking your axle 3s, take 2 of them. The next step, you're going to want to count 1, 2, insert it into the 1x12. This leg will likely fall off a lot. It is very fragile, so don't worry, just clip it back in. So again, you're going to count 1, 2, put your axle number 3, take this one, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put your axle number 3 into the 1x12, and now you're going to take your 4 gears, you should have 4 of them, and you're going to put them on either side of the axle 3s. So you're going to want to insert it right into the middle of the gear. This will secure the axle 3 in place. To make sure it doesn't fall out, you're just going to want to insert that into the middle. Like I said, it's okay if these blocks fall out. Just insert them back in. And you're going to want to notice that we're going to pause here and look at the movement of the gears. notice that when I push these forward, that middle 8-tooth gear is going to be going backwards. And notice how they move in opposite directions to one another. So make sure that they're touching. Make sure everything is secure so we can move on to the next step. I want you to take your 4 yellow Technic pins and insert them in the hole furthest away from one another. So what I mean by that is you're going to want to insert these pins with the rigid side sticking outwards, and you're going to insert this pin in the bottom left corner. Insert this pin with the rigid side outwards in the bottom right corner. So that they're further away from one another, so that the legs are far apart. And do that on the other side. Again, making sure that it's the frontmost are in the bottom right corner, and the bottommost legs are in the bottom left corner. And again, these pieces, if they fall out, just put them back in place, making sure they're in the right spot. So this is what your structure should look like right now. And for the next step, take your crank arms, size 4, and inserting them into each side of the gear, and that will make the legs of our Chemeleon. So to do that, you're going to put them so that they're facing. I'm going to put this down because it keeps falling out. You're going to insert it into the topmost hole, the hole for the axle pin. It looks like a cross. And you're going to put it so that it's facing towards, the short side is facing towards the longer end of the brick. And you're going to want to make sure that short end, that they all face this way. So I'm going to put it all together, and then I'll show you where you want all your pieces to face. These are going to make, what do you think? What part of the Chemeleon do you think we're constructing? These are going to be the legs of the Chemeleon. So it looks like we need another yellow Technic pen. Unfortunately, this was not listed at the beginning, so make sure you have that now. And you're going to count 1, 2, and you're going to put the smoother side into the brick so that the rigid side is sticking out, and insert it into the middle of the 20-tooth gear so that it's like this, and they all rotate with one another. Should look like that. Now, taking your 1x4 brick, you're going to want to place it on the last two. You're going to place the end of the plate at the last 2 joints of the 1x12. So that way you can connect a 1x4 brick right under it. And now you're going to put another 1x4 plate parallel to the one you put at the top. So you see that's our first 1x4 plate. We were able to stick in the last 2 ends of the 1x4 brick, and right under it we placed a 1x4 plate, and this allows us to extend the base of the Chemeleon's body. So I want you guys to pay attention exactly where I put that plate, where I put the brick, where I put the plate right under it, and your structure should look just like this. Now taking an axle 3 and an 8-tooth gear, you're going to insert it into 1, 2, 3, into that third hole, and you're going to put that 8-tooth gear on the same side as the 20-tooth gear that we just put in. So again, they should all be moving together. And then you're going to take your black pin. You're going to put that aside and put your black pin into your second hole of your 1x12 brick. And you're going to put it on the opposite end so that it's sticking out from this side. And you're going to insert your motor so that this black pin is sticking into, so that this axle 3 sticks into the middle of the motor, and that black pin goes on the right pole of the motor. So it should be secure like this. Nothing should fall out. And the last thing to do is to put that aside because we have to build the tail and the head of the chameleon. So to build the tail of the chameleon, do you remember what the tail looks like? It's a curl, right? So we're going to build that curl by taking a 1x6 plate, a 1x6 brick, take a 1x4 brick, and place the last 2 pegs to the bottom of the 1x6. Take a 1x2 brick, place only 1 peg at the other end of that 1x6 plate, 1x6 brick. Do the same, only connect one side of that peg under the 1x2 brick. And taking your other 1x4 brick, stick only the first 2 on the other end of that 1x2. And we're creating this curl of a shape, and this will go to the back of the chameleon's body. So put that aside. We're going to build the face of the chameleon. To do that, I want you to take your 1x6 plate, take your other 1x6 plate, and connect them so that they're not exactly right on top of each other. There should be one space opening at the bottom brick. So you have a shape like that. Take your 1x4 and put it on the very end of that 1x6 brick. Then taking your axle number 6, count 1, 2, 3 of the middle brick and place a 2x2 round on either side. And just stick it through this pipe. You have to be a little bit, put a good amount of force into there. You have something just like that. And these make up, remember those bulging eyes that we speak about earlier? And now we're just going to put that to the body of the chameleon that we built. So to connect the face of the chameleon, insert it right at the edge so that there's 2 connecting pegs. And to insert the tail, just put that on top of that 1x4 plate at the back. Make sure everything is secure. Again, if you get too handsy, some things may fall. And we're done. That makes up the chameleon, the curly tail, the bulging big eyes, the big round head. And now we're gonna turn our model on. And we're gonna look at the gears and how they move. To decorate your chameleon, and we're going to go around and talk about what we learned about the chameleon, the different kinds of chameleons, where they live. They're in tropical animals, they have big heads, they have big bulging eyes, curly tails. And what they do is when they're scared or when they don't want to be seen, they camouflage themselves. So they can change colors really well. And that is everything. So once you're done with your build, make sure to clean up, put everything away. And I will see you next time. It was great, and we'll talk about another amazing animal for the next class. Bye, everyone.